Hi guys, and welcome back to this latest video. In this video we're going to be looking at what to do when we call an ambulance and why we will be calling an ambulance. So don't forget to watch this video all the way through to the end, and please do hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our videos. So here in the UK, we need to make sure we call the ambulance in a life-threatening situation where someone needs emergency medical treatment. And here in the UK, we can use two numbers. We can use 999 or we can use 112. 112 is a number you can use throughout Europe. Just make sure that you know the number that you can call in the country where you're watching this from. And also if you're off on holiday, at the moment here in the UK it's Easter holidays, so maybe you're out travelling somewhere, make sure you know the number for the country that you are visiting, so if you need emergency medical help, you know how to get it quickly. Now you will call those numbers in an emergency, a life-threatening situation. Well, what is that? Some people still don't know. A life-threatening emergency is not when you need antibiotics, it's not because you've got a sore throat or you can't get hold of the doctor. A life-threatening emergency is when someone's not breathing, a catastrophic bleed, a suspected stroke, suspected heart attack, seizures, to name a few. If you need medical help and you can't get hold of your doctor, you can also phone 111 and they will give you medical advice over the phone and tell you the best course of action. They might even send an ambulance to you if they deem it to be an emergency. Now when you do call 999 or 112, they're going to ask you questions over the phone. The first two questions they tend to ask you are, is the patient conscious? Yes or no. Is the patient breathing normally? Yes or no. Now, I did a video about what normal breathing is a few weeks ago, and I'll leave the link for that above and also below in the description for you, because it's so important to know, is that person breathing normally? Not, are they making breathing noises? Are they breathing normally? Then the call handler will ask you other questions like where you are. So make sure you know where you're calling from. If you're calling from a landline, they will know exactly where you are. But if you're calling from your mobile, they cannot trace it. So make sure you know the address. Now, if you're at home, hopefully you know your address. But if not, you can look at your letters, the post-its coming through the door. You can run next door, ask them what the address is, or ask anybody else in the house. Or of course, you can just go outside. And here where I am in London, we have lots of street signs. We can look left and right and find a road sign. But you might be in the countryside and you might not have anyone else around you. You could also use a service called What 3 Words. It's an app you can download on your phone, and what that does is it gives you 3 words for where you are. Basically every 3 square meters in the whole world is split up into grids, and every 3 square meters has 3 different words. And What 3 Words is great to use, especially if you're outside or maybe in a rural location where it's quite hard to direct the ambulance to you. Try and also give them landmarks as well of where you are, because that will help the ambulance be able to get to you quickly. Now, if you are using What 3 Words, make sure you spell the words out very carefully to the call handler, because when we say words, we can all pronounce things a little bit differently. And the slightest error on a letter, on a word, it could send someone in a completely different area. Now, if it is a life-threatening emergency, you'll more than likely get more than one resource coming to you. So you might get the ambulance, you might get a car, you might get a cyclist, you might get a motorbike, or a combination of all those. You might also have the call handler staying on the phone directing you in treatment of first aid. So you might be told to carry on with CPR, and they will be guiding you through what to do. You might also need to be able to treat bleeds. You might also be there trying to calm the casualty down. Treatment must always come first. Always never delay the treatment of that casualty. But you might have helpers around that can help you in this emergency. It is really important though to try and get everyone calm, because if you're not calm, the patient's not going to stay calm. And of course what we do will all depend on what is wrong with that casualty as well. But there are a few things that you can do and others can do, as well as treatment, while you're waiting for the ambulance crew to arrive. Now, unfortunately, the ambulance crew don't just suddenly appear. There will be a time before they actually get there. So you have time to ask the patient questions, especially if they're conscious. Find out about medications the patient might be on. Yeah, maybe they have a prescription somewhere in the house. Have they been to hospital recently? Is there any letters around the house with doctor's information on? Because all this information is really important for the ambulance. Do you know the patient's medical history? It's good to make a note of all these things. Are they asthmatic? Are they diabetic? Have they eaten anything today? Have they got any allergies? All these questions are really useful for the ambulance because these are the questions they're going to ask when they arrive. So having this information to hand is really important. If the person was unconscious on the floor, what time did they start going unconscious? What time did someone find them there? How did they get on the floor? You might also ask them about their toilet habits. Have they been going to the toilet regularly for wees and poos? Has anything changed recently about what they're doing? Has their medication recently changed? Have they taken their medication or have they completely ignored it? So there's lots of questions we can ask, or if the patient's unconscious, we might send a helper to go and find all that information around the house, in the bedrooms, in the lounge. There might be some paperwork lying around somewhere. You can also ask helpers to go and look out for the ambulance. Especially if you're in a dark lane somewhere or it's dark outside, go and put all the lights on in the house. If you've got a car outside, go and put the hazards on. Make sure it's nice and easy for the ambulance crew to find where you are. Even leave the front door open. And with that, I suppose, make sure the ambulance crew can actually get into where you are. Clear a path for them. If you walk into someone's hallway and there's loads of things lying around, shoes and bags, move them out of the way so that no one's going to trip over them. And at some point, there's probably going to be a trolley or a chair being brought into the house. And having things in the way is not that helpful. Pets are another thing. Make sure you get them away, especially if they're not, especially if they're a house pet and they're not used to being outside. Make sure you shut them in a different room, so therefore they're not going to escape through the door as the ambulance crew are trying to take the patient outside. If you're in a workplace or a block of flats that has a concierge department, or a concierge reception downstairs, make sure you alert them that you've called the ambulance. Maybe even in a hotel, make sure you call the receptionist to tell them you've called the ambulance so they know to look out for them and they can direct them to where you are. What you don't want is the ambulance to be delayed in getting to you. You might also tell the ambulance, important information like the stairs or there is a lift that they can use, because they will be carrying quite a lot of heavier equipment. And also, as I said before, trolleys and beds, so they want to be able to get to that patient quickly. And really importantly, if you're with that patient and you've hung up the phone for the emergency services and things have got worse again with that patient, maybe you call because they're unconscious but breathing, but now they've got unconscious and they've stopped breathing, but now they've stopped breathing, call the emergency services back and tell them about the situation that's changed, because that will make the ambulance arrive to you faster. If it is a life-threatening situation, it's more than likely that person's going to be going to hospital. So maybe you or the helpers that you have available to you could go around and gather the person's belongings together. They're going to need house keys, maybe some footwear, something warm to wear, a dressing gown, a coat, depending on the time of year. They might want their phone. I'd also suggest taking the charger. And if you're going to go in the ambulance with them, maybe you need to take something for you to do because there will be a little bit of waiting around. So there's lots of things we will be doing while we're waiting for the ambulance. Because as I said, the ambulance do not just teleport themselves there. We have time with that patient, and time can go slowly or sometimes quickly. But more often than not, it does go quite slowly, especially when you're waiting for someone to arrive. Please always administer first aid to the casualty. But if everything's nice and stable, or if you have helpers around, there are lots of things that you could be doing while you're waiting for the ambulance to make it easier for the ambulance crew when they arrive. And as I said before, be prepared not just for one knock on the door, 2 or sometimes 3 knocks on the door. So make sure you're prepared for that. Make sure you clear lots of space. So I might need to move things out of the way to make it easy for lots of people to descend in my house. Thanks for listening, guys. I hope you never need this information, but I'm hoping that by giving you this information now, you should be more equipped if an emergency situation ever arose. But as I said, hopefully you'll never need it.